think we've exhausted our conversation for the day.
For real.
You guys ready to go?
I'm tired.
I am too.
Me 3. This is Twin Stick Radio, episode 70 for the week of May 23rd, 2019. I'm one of your hosts, Trey Higgins, and I'm joined by Chris Rodriguez and Justin T. Lopez.
Hello. How's it
Hello.
going?
Hey, so something you mentioned last week.
Ow!
Well, great start. There's literally you could see the bump of Chris's scream.
Is there like a small bump where he hits the
It's just
table
like,
first and then just...
Yeah, no, I don't think it picked up the table too much.
Ah.
Something I wanted to talk about because you had mentioned it sometime last week, and we just didn't have an opportunity to talk about it on the podcast. Justin, you played Mortal Kombat 11?
Oh, I did. I was
Yeah.
I was wondering where you're going with this.
I want to talk about that real fast.
I mentioned that on
You
the
see my bump.
EGSR podcast. What?
the
I'm
bump
just
from
trying-
you
the
hitting the
bump.
table.
I mean, you could hear that?
I don't know. I could see the scream.
Probably just...
Oh, the audio wave.
Yeah.
You
Got
mean
it.
like visually, like you could see
Well,
the
no,
bump?
I was like, what does he mean by bump? Like, I can see the bump. It's like, yeah, I guess you can see it. You saw me hit my leg, I guess. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat 11, go.
Oh, just talk about it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm not a big fight game fan, but Bree is. And so I come home and I'm like, what the hell is this? She's like, I got Mortal Kombat. I was like, oh, okay. So then I started playing it. And I've been playing through the story. It's pretty short. And there's so much stuff going on. And like you said, I didn't realize that there was any Mortal Kombat lore. And I also didn't realize that I can't follow almost any of it. There's like alternate timelines, and in some timelines people help each other, and others they betray each other. It's a whole thing. But it's fun. I'm actually having fun with it. I don't normally like fighting games. The last one I had was Injustice 2.
I feel like NetherRealm has really nailed fighting games recently because I don't know. I like Injustice 1. I tried out Injustice 2. I think it's fine.
Yeah. It was like more of the same.
Yeah, and I would expect Mortal Kombat plays just like those games.
Yeah, it's almost. I'm sure fighting fans can pick out the differences, but for a casual fighting gamer, it's like,
Yeah,
button mash and maybe you win.
mash and maybe win. That's how I play fighting games. That's why I lose. All
I
the
assume
time.
that's how you win.
Yeah. You know what? Since we're here, Chris, what are you playing?
Red Dead Online, Fallout 76. I've been trying to play Dauntless because Dauntless came out on PS4 Tuesday. But every time I log in, I'm either like in a 30-minute queue or I get a endless loading screen after character creation.
Which one's Dauntless?
It's kind of like a Monster Hunter type clone. It's just you and 4 people team up and go hunt down a monster, and you have a character progression and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
It looks familiar.
it looks like it's in the whatever engine Fortnite's in. That's kind of what it looks like. It's in
Unreal?
I don't know what it's in. I don't know what Fortnite's in.
Well, it definitely has the same art style
Sure,
at the very least.
And I'm pretty sure it's like Epic produced. I think.
Yeah, Unreal 4.
But I can't tell you anything about it because I can't fucking play it.
Yeah.
Other than that, nothing. I don't have anybody to play Division with, so I can't even try the raid.
Yeah, I saw you've been playing poker on Red Dead.
Yeah, I played the shit out of poker. Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
I think I played poker for 2 hours yesterday.
I like that you are playing poker in Red Dead, and then last night, so Overwatch has their whole workshop thing that they just came, that the workshop overhaul just came to console. And so me and Taylor and Kat and then one of our other friends, Zach, were just going through some custom modes. And we found one that was Uno. So we stayed up probably till like 2 a.m. last night. Or, yeah, this morning. Yeah, that's how it works. We stayed up till 2 a.m. Playing Uno and Overwatch.
There's a reason like Wheel of Fortune and like those CNET games sell extremely well just because they're fun to play.
Yeah, it was like
strangely
addicting.
Yeah, poker's really well done. I mean, how do you fuck up poker, right? It's just Texas Hold'em. So hopefully you can't fuck it up. Every once in a while, the only thing is you can't. So like you can't clear a table. So I think you could if you did like a private game. So like if you, me, Taylor, whoever, if we did a private game, you use a $25 buy-in per character, and then I think if you hit 0, you would be kicked out of the game. But when you're playing in matchmaking, it just automatically matchmakes you at a table. And so people just leave whenever they want, and then matchmaking auto-fills it again. So it's like an endless game of poker.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad, but it kind of takes away the feeling of like, I just cleared this table. You know what I mean? Like,
there's not like a tournament feel. You know,
right,
you're not the last one at the table.
Sure, exactly. Because I mean, I'm fairly good at poker. Like it's something that a friend of mine, a friend drummer and I, Bobby Moss, practiced 2 summers in a row how to play poker because his dad was really good at it when we were younger. So we practiced and just learned how to. Well, it's not, we don't count cards, but we can tell the percentages of like, oh, I'm holding this. And I see what's on the flop, the turn, and the river. So it's like, percentage-wise, I can tell you somebody at this table has a straight, so there's no way I'm going to play 2 pair. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie 21?
No.
It was one of those like mid 2000s just random action movies. It almost felt like Wanted, except there was no action. It was all counting cards.
Yeah, the action was like when
Kevin
people are, like,
Spacey.
putting cards
Yes.
on the
Yeah,
table
no,
and
I have
shit.
seen that movie. Yeah.
After watching that movie, I was somewhat young and impressionable.
Sure.
I was very much like, that's what I want to do.
That's what I want to do for the rest of my life is count cards illegally.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. I have a lot of fun playing poker, and every time I play, I've played a few times. I always either double or triple my $25 buy-in in a couple of hours, which I think is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's people are bad at that game, dude. Some people just come in and they're like max bet every hand. It's like, no, you're gonna have that. But when you get a table of like 5 or 6 people that are actually playing, it's a shit ton of fun because there's no reading, right? You can't look at your opponent and be like, I don't know if he's bluffing or not. So you have to let the cards speak. It's like, I'm holding pocket aces, which is a damn good hand, but I see 4, 5, 7, 8 on the table. It's like, there's a really fucking good chance somebody has a straight, and some guy goes all in. It's like, that guy probably has a straight or he's bluffing. So it's like, you've got to. It's a shit ton of fun. Like Hold'em's just a shit ton of fun.
Yeah, I still think it'd be a really cool idea if we did an audio podcast, or actually,
I agree.
It wouldn't be audio; it would be.
I would say you do
full podcast.
Yeah. I would say you do either this or Eat, Geek, Sleep, Repeat. Just playing Red Dead Poker. It's
That'd be
just
really
a lot of fun because you can do a private match, and it's just a lot of fun. They added a lot of cool stuff in Red Dead Online. The raid came out for Division. I haven't had a chance to log in because, like I said, I don't have anybody to play with.
Well, from what it sounds like, and we'll cover it in the news.
Yeah, for real. And then Fallout, like I said, Fallout 76. Whitney and I are still playing Fallout 76 because it's fucking awesome. They just came out with their the last bit of Project Appalachia, which has you go down into like a pharmaceutical company in West Virginia where they were experimenting on taming like Mirelurk queens and stuff like that, which is it's fun. It's a really cool high end level 50 plus event, and it's a shit ton of fun. So,
Trey, what about you? What are you playing?
I've been playing a shit ton of God of War.
Bree bought that as well.
Yeah, it's
what the heck, Bree? You're spending all the money.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I thought we were getting a house.
It's really interesting because I've been thinking about this a lot because I think that there is a reasonable argument for last year just being one of the best years in gaming. Not the best. I still think like 2008 or whatever it was that we last decided on is probably better. But it was a really good year for gaming, and I think the games that led that charge were Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption and really, I think, God of War. And so it got me thinking about, like, had I played this game a year ago, where would I have ended up for my game of the year? And I'm fairly confident. I mean, I haven't finished the game yet, but I'm getting pretty close. I'm fairly confident Spider-Man will still sort of hold that spot. But I really think that had I played it a year ago, and all this is hypothetical and doesn't really matter, but I think it would have taken my Heart Award. And I was thinking about that because I really love Red Dead Redemption. I think Red Dead Redemption is an amazing game, and I think that all the attention that it gets, it definitely deserves. And so I was thinking about these 3 games and sort of comparing and contrasting them, and one of the things that I thought was that as far as writing goes, I think that all 3 games have really great writing, especially when it comes to character writing. I think that that's what those 3 games excel at. I think Red Dead Redemption has a slight advantage on that because it's so much longer than those other 2 games. But I think they're all well written. And then in terms of like exploration, I think Red Dead Redemption beats those games like with absolutely no debate or comparison. I think Red Dead Redemption far excels in the exploration part of their games. But as far as gameplay goes, and this is not saying that Red Dead Redemption is not fun to play, but I think the reason why these two games, aside from the fact that I'm slowly becoming a Sony exclusive fanboy, and so there's that bias that I think exists and that I can't ignore, but I think that Spider-Man and God of War play so much better than Red Dead, and I think that's part of the reason why they stick out to me. And it's not necessary, because shooting in Red Dead is fun, and I don't think anyone would deny that, but there's like, God of War is at its best when you just have like those hero moments where you're like slamming on the ground and launching people in the air. At one point you get a third weapon that is fucking crazy, and it's almost overpowered to the point where you're like, man, did they even design the game around knowing that they were going to introduce this weapon? And Spider-Man has that same thing where like just getting a really good combo and webbing people up and the cool action cam stuff that happens. And I think that like part of that gameplay hook is what sort of puts those two games a little bit ahead of Red Dead Redemption for me.
Well, and Red Dead's, it's so grounded in realism. It's like you can go up against what you would like if someone's robbing you. Oh, they catch you off guard. Okay, but this bullet is still going to kill you as soon as I shoot you through the head.
And I love Red Dead, and none of this is taking any of that love away. I still believe everything I said last year, but it's really interesting to think about like. It was just interesting for me to sort of play like that game in my head of like, what would I have chosen? And it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to go back and be like, I'm retconning my decision. God of War clearly deserves that spot. No, it's you make your decision and you ride with it and then regret not playing the game a year ago. But yeah, I just, that's sort of been on my mind a lot this week. But God of War, I think that, I think that that's a game that if you own, you could get a lot of love out of. It's really, really good. And it also has like, it takes like that Legend of Zelda and sort of Metroidvania formula, and it puts it in that game. And it's really interesting to see those things sort of interact in a AAA 3D space, because it's been a while since we've really had that. Like even Breath of the Wild did not have like really those Zelda moments at all, where you get a weapon or a boomerang or something like that, and you're like, oh man, that thing all the way at the beginning of the game, I can finally unlock that and see what's behind there. Or like it, and also God of War is sort of it doesn't hold your hand. Like it introduces things to you early on that you can't do because you don't have the right thing to do it. And I think I got frustrated about that initially, but with the way that it sort of gives you upgrades so often, you sort of realize that like I appreciate the way that it's like, you can't do this, but come back later and don't get impatient because it's going to happen. Just keep playing the game. Yeah,
kind of just teaches you by doing and as you go along. Yeah,
and it sort of dissuades you from getting lost in the side world activities, which is my biggest problem with Red Dead and Spider-Man. I think that in those two games, you can just, there's no real impotence to go through the main storyline. You can get lost in just doing side missions or exploring or getting collectibles. And all that's well and good because a lot of people really like that game, but it makes you feel guilty. For me as a player, it makes me feel guilty when I'm progressing the story, but I'm not clearing things off the map. And what I like about God of War is it's like you can clear things off the map, but eventually you have to do the story, and in a lot of cases it's better for you to just work on the story for a bit, get some upgrades, and then go do those things that you haven't done yet. You don't feel like you're missing out on anything by, or you don't feel like you're pushing the story too fast or anything like that. So, cool. It's a great game. You guys want to talk about the news? No? All right.
Never.
End of podcast.
Never.
Shortest podcast ever, 15 minutes.
Check out the description below.
All that jazz.
Hit like and subscribe. Bye.
First up, a new trailer for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 confirms that the X-Men will be joining the cast of the upcoming Switch exclusive. The trailer mostly shows X-Men villains like Magneto, Mystique, and Juggernaut, but shows Beast and Psylocke as well. Although the villains appear to start by taking an antagonistic role with the X-Men, it appears as though they eventually join up with the Avengers to stop the Black Order, suggesting that they too might be playable characters. Chris, when I know you don't care because it's a Switch exclusive, but you had mentioned before when Ultimate Alliance 3 came out, like if X-Men weren't there, that'd be really lame. So does this give you hope for when this game is eventually ported over everywhere?
No.
And it showcased Magneto.
Is it going to be ported over? Did they say that?
I don't see why it wouldn't eventually be ported over.
I do, because it's a Nintendo exclusive.
I guess, but I mean, it's not like it didn't start as a Nintendo exclusive.
This game is.
Well, this one, yes, but
If it were any other exclusive, I'd be like, oh yeah, like at some point in time. If it was like a Sony exclusive, like, oh yeah, at some point in time, Switch will grab it, or it'll be on fucking Vita or whatever the fuck it's gonna be. But since it's like exclusive to Switch, I don't see that being ported over anytime soon. Maybe. Still, it's just dumb. It's just dumb.
It's dumb to have a Switch exclusive?
No, it's dumb for this game to be a Switch exclusive.
Gotcha. Because
it's just that you took your audience from 200 million people to 15 million. I don't understand. I don't get it. But hey, whatever.
I wonder if it would have been made if someone hadn't paid to make it exclusive.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. And
that's the only reason why I can think why someone would take something like that and cut their audience by such a major percentage.
I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I think they're fucking amazing games. But the problem is that like, sure, I'll pick this up, and then who am I going to play it with? Mm-hmm. Nobody. Because nobody has a Switch. But if it was
has a Switch.
I do have a Switch.
Oh yeah, but if it was on PS4, it's like, oh yeah, easy. We'll all just get together and play it and have a shit ton of fun.
I would be buying it day one if it was coming out on PS4.
Sure,
it could be a shit game, and I would still buy it. Because,
oh yeah, it's just a fun game. When they showed the combo moves you can do in part 2, that wasn't in part 1, but in part 2 you can do like the thing where like Cyclops shoots Cap shield, and those are just really fun moments.
They had some of that in this trailer too.
Toss Wolverine, Colossus tosses Wolverine like a dart. It's just cool shit. Yeah. Was Magneto? Did they show Magneto at all?
Yeah,
oh,
he was like he was showcased heavily. He was basically the voiceover for the whole trailer.
Did he look cool?
He looks like a purple Magneto with a different helmet. So if you like purple Magneto, yes. If not, then
and then he has who voices him? Because it sounds a lot like it sounds a lot like
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen.
But if it's anything like the other Ultimate Alliance games, then it's going to have a shit ton of alternate costumes.
Yeah, sure. Bendis Magneto's best Magneto. Let's be completely honest. Those designs are just amazing.
All of those designs, like Cyclops is back in the comics right now, and he's in his like blue and yellow garb.
Lame. You miss that black that black with the red X across his face.
So fucking cool.
I know, man. Bendis' X-Men were great. They looked super emo, but they were fucking awesome looking.
Yeah. Sad day. The Division 2's first raid, Dark Hours, has been a major source of debate throughout the Division community. Within 5 hours of launch, PC players had completed the raid, but console players were not able to finish it until 3 days after the launch. Since then, many players have been reaching out, requesting that Massive scale down the difficulty of the raid for console players. During this week's State of the Game stream for Division 2, Massive confirmed that they aren't currently looking to scale down the difficulty on the raid. Quote, "We've heard rumors about us changing the raid difficulty, ellipses. There are currently no plans to change that. We know that the raid is harder on consoles, but we are happy with where we're at," end quote.
Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the way that they intended it to be, sure. I don't know. So I don't know all the mechanics of the raid. Is it because you're on PC, you just have better control, and so it's easier to do?
100% what it is.
Is that what it is? Is that what it's coming down to?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way easier to kill things on PC because you don't have to deal with weapon recoil.
Right.
So it's just literally, I mean, every gun in that game is a laser to a head on PC. But on console, you've got a shit ton of weapon recoil that you have to deal with because of the joysticks. It's just a lot harder to kill things on console. It's not a bad thing.
Is that something that people like in Destiny or?
Oh yeah, 100%. If you were to watch a Destiny player play Crucible and then go watch a PS4 or Xbox player, the time to kill is like night and day.
Was this same thing happening in the raids though? Like were people completing it on PC sooner?
I think part of the because all of the streamers
everybody
are on
plays
PC.
on PC.
Sure.
But with Destiny, I think part of the thing is the way the encounters are managed. The amount of enemies on the map aren't so smart that you ever feel outmatched.
Right.
Whereas in Division, I think part of the problem is that the AI is fairly smart. They'll flank you and get behind you. You can't really have a defensible position in the same way that you can in Destiny. So I think that's part of the difficulty too.
Destiny also has a lot of mechanics where you don't. Destiny has mechanics where you don't have to mechanic. You can just sit there and shoot enemies for 5 minutes. From what I've seen in this, I haven't watched any of the raid, but from what I've seen, there's some like heavy mechanics, especially team-based stuff, where you have to move as a team from place to place and do these things. And if your DPS isn't high enough, there's DPS checks, which they don't really have in Destiny anymore. They stopped doing DPS checks after probably Kingsfall.
I would say, yeah.
I think War Priest, was that his name?
War Priest,
I think,
and Oryx.
And Oryx, yeah, were definitely DPS checks, and I haven't seen a DPS check since Kingsfall, which is Destiny 1. but there are heavy DPS checks in Division 2. And so, the fact that those are there, it's like, it sounds hardcore. It sounds WoW-like, which is fine with me.
And it's also time to kill in Destiny is so short.
Oh, man.
It's not in Division.
No.
It just isn't. And they're just very different games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't necessarily have a problem with this. I know that means I'll probably never finish the raid until
you're far out level it.
Yeah, gear score far out levels it, which is fine. I've always been a big proponent of like, if there's hard content like that, that's okay. Not everybody has to do it, but at the same time, it's like you want everybody to at least experience it. So there should be that difficulty gauge. I don't know if it's there or not. I would assume it's not because people would have just done it on easy.
Yeah.
But I think difficulty gauges should be a thing in every game, just so. If one day we wanted to do it and we somehow got 8 people together, we can just stick it on easy and just go experience it. Are our drops going to be as good as hard? No, absolutely not. But the option to do it and the chance to get there's a specific raid weapon. It's an assault rifle that's supposed to be really good. It would just be really nice to be able to get that without having to do this insanely hard content. Does it have to be as good as the hard version? No, just drop it at a lower gear score and it's like, that's okay.
Yeah, I guess. I guess with a raid specifically, it's good to have a challenge.
Sure.
It's good. It's good to have like a goal.
Yeah, but I'm not saying get rid of the challenge. I'm just saying give that difficulty scale so people can always experience it.
I think you nailed it on the head earlier when you were talking about it getting easier with gear score. Is that's part of my thing with Destiny. With the Destiny 1 raids, I think Kingsfall was probably the only raid that I completed within launch month. But as I leveled up and went back and did the other raids, that was a manageable challenge for me, who is not so great at wasn't so great at those games. And so I don't think this is going to be a long-term problem. I think it's going to be a temporary problem.
Sure. And
I think it should be. I think within launch month, it should be a difficult challenge.
Sure.
And I think it should scale down as characters level up.
Sure.
That's worked for Destiny.
Right. Because then you're just grinding in the game to get better gear, so that way you can go then do
right.
this raid.
If gear score levels, we're at gear score cap right now as far as Division goes. With the next story update, it might go up.
Did it go up with Division 1?
Yeah, but it went up not
in such drastic increments like Destiny.
Exactly. So I think your max gear score right now is 550. And I don't see why you would need to raise it, if that makes sense. Because story content, you don't need to raise the gear score. It's all story content, right? So I don't know. I have no clue.
Would the reason be because of to give people Destiny does this. This is totally Destiny, and it's going to sound like an insult, but this is what this game does. But for a false sense of progression.
Yeah, I think so. But Destiny needs a false sense of progression because there's nothing to chase.
And you don't think Division does?
No, Division. You're always consistently chasing new builds. Okay. It's like I've got this gear set. I would just like a higher version of this gear set, and that could take weeks to get a perfect gear set.
Yeah.
Because of the random rolls and stuff like that. But Destiny just doesn't have anything to chase. There's no reason to chase any of that stuff.
But even though you have things with a max gear score, you can still pick up things that are going to raise your DPS.
Absolutely. So you can have what you think is the perfect gear set, and all of a sudden this one piece of armor drops that gives your assault rifle damage an extra 20%. It's like, oh, now I can start making an assault rifle build, which is why you have I think they give you 8 slots for builds.
Okay.
And so that's the progression for Division, right? It's not really the number going up. That number is always consistently going up and down, switching between gear sets. But ideally you have 3 or 4 gear sets all at max level, but that's like pipe dream type stuff. That's streamer fucking played 12 hours a day type stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, Destiny needs a false sense of progression because there is no progression. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, from what it sounds like, this is like they said, they're happy with where it's at. So sounds like it's somewhat intentional.
Yeah, good on them for standing on the ground, man.
Right.
Because you know how gamers can be.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I much prefer that answer rather than okay, it's something we'll continue to look into this. It's
sure.
As of right now, we're not changing it. We're
sure.
happy with where it's at.
Sure.
You gotta kind of respect that.
Yep.
Or no answer like Anthem. Which has been an interesting conversation this week. I saw someone posted today that as of today, it's been a month.
1 month since the official Twitter has said anything.
Yeah, and then someone else pointed out that on Xbox, Anthem has fallen out of the 49th place behind Battlefield 1. And Battlefield 1's player numbers say really scary things about Anthem's player numbers.
Sure, yeah, and it's one of those things too. It's like, rumors popping up that Anthem may go free to play or something like that, and it's you reach out to BioWare and there's no response. So it's like, well, what do you expect us to believe or assume? Like, you've got a failing game, and you're not talking about it. You know?
We talked about that before because there's the whole. If they're over communicating things and making false promises, that's bad. But also, whenever you're not communicating, you allow these rumors to fester, and it gets unmanageable.
Which is it's a shame because it's such a good game.
Right.
That's the problem. That's the shitty part is it's a really good game. Like, it's borderline great with a few different things. Just change a few things, and you can have a great game on your hands. But it's like
I'm honestly at the point where it should go free to play. That was the best thing that ever happened to Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yeah, maybe. I think I thought about this the other day, and it's like, I agree. I think certain games going free to play, that may be the best thing that they could possibly do. But this is a console game where, like, that's where that like gray line is. Like, sure, on PC going free to play as an MMO, that's a fucking amazing idea. But on console, man, I'm just not sure.
Well, especially I don't know. I feel like with where Anthem's at right now, I feel like they don't have really anything huge to push.
Well, I would
like if it's kind of like the popularity is waning. And then if you go to free to play, I don't think that you're going to bolster your player base at all.
I think you would.
You think so?
I think it would be sort of a Star Wars: The Old Republic effect, and I think that because it's a console game, there will be this huge level of outcry that will exist for 6 months. I would also expect them if they do free to play to launch it that way and have more features, not just be like, hey, we're free to play tomorrow.
Sure, well, but that's the issue, right? Is they need to fix overall the game before they even do this. But, and like you said, if they go free to play tomorrow, it's like, great.
You're literally inviting people who may have paid. Now they get to play it, and they're like, "Oh, I don't like this."
I think first of all, you take the people that drop $60 on this game, and you give them benefits for doing so.
100%.
I think that you give them long-term rewards that other people can't get, and including like if they add a subscription service to never make those people pay for a subscription. And I think that those $60 people are going to be mad regardless, and then they're going to be mad for 6 months, and they're going to be gone. But you're going to see that free-to-play thing boost up pretty high. I don't think that they're ever going to be Fortnite numbers.
No, of course not.
I don't think that they'll hit Warframe numbers in the first year.
Yeah, they'll never hit Destiny numbers. Hell, it won't happen unless there's a huge turnaround.
Yeah, but I think that is a really good way to get people in the door because you're going to get people that are going to try the game just because it's free. I mean, like,
that's true.
I am not someone that likes Apex Legends, but I have played probably 8 to 10 hours of that game just because it was by the Titanfall developers and it was free.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I didn't really enjoy it, but
yeah.
Or worst case scenarios, we see Anthem go bye.
Which, shit, I mean,
I would say it is on the table for sure.
100%.
At this point, I feel fairly confident that that's not going to happen, but my confidence wanes every day. I something. I started out at like 90%. This is never going to happen, and now I may be down to like 60.
Yeah, I might be lower than that after a month of no communication from the developers.
That's bad.
Yeah,
that's real bad, especially after the game was only out for 2-3 months.
February 22nd.
Yeah, so that's not good.
This is sort of 3 stories wrapped into one. I initially put it into quick saves, but I was like, there's enough here that I can move it up. Sony confirmed during their Investor Relations Day 2019 presentation that the upcoming slate of Sony exclusives, including The Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima, will still be coming to PS4, although they didn't rule out the possibility of these games coming to PS5. During their presentation, they also showed off the PS4 and PS5 load time comparisons that Sony had previously showed Wired. Finally, Sony also confirmed that they are currently exploring crossplay between PS4 and PS5 for backwards compatible titles. The thing about all that is that I think it's not. Well, they're confirming it to their investors, but also to a certain degree their players. But I think that those are all nice things to hear and all things that I sort of assumed.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I have nothing to say about the loading times. It's like you're loading a current gen game on a next gen console. Of course, it's faster.
Yeah, well, they're also using a solid state drive,
Sure, yeah.
which regardless,
yeah,
like that,
it's just,
that's not a surprise. I mean,
Yeah.
really, they should have looked at solid state drives whenever they were launching the PS4 Pro. And
yeah.
that's-
The crossplay thing is nice. But even then, we're already in the crossplay future because even on PS4, Dauntless is crossplay. PC, PS4, which I had no idea until I logged in and was like, "Would you like to turn on crossplay?" It's like, yeah, that's fucking cool.
But I think this would be the first time that we would have crossplay between a past and then like a current like generation, right?
I think doesn't Xbox One do that with their backwards compatible titles?
I'm not sure. I'm not. So my thing is like I'm really bad about playing like old games. Like backwards compatibility is great for people who like it, but I can't bring myself to like, oh, I want to play this Xbox 360 game. It's like
There's a few. I was thinking about this the other day. It's totally off subject, but kind of same as your thought processes. There's a lot of games that I would actually like to go back and play. Like I kind of want to go back and replay Witcher again because I have that New Game Plus save. I would totally go back and just replay that entire game again. But I don't have enough space on my hard drive. And that's literally what keeps me from replaying games is I don't want to delete Fallout, Red Dead, or actually those are the only two. And no shit,
those are big games.
Fallout and Red Dead alone almost get to 200 gigs.
Just do what Daniel did and get a solid state drive and just run games from that.
I shouldn't have to buy a whole new fucking hard drive. That's that old man stand in me. Is like I shouldn't have to buy a whole nother hard drive just to have an unlimited amount of games on my fucking PlayStation.
Hey, we've got terabyte micro SDs.
I didn't have to do any of that in
It's the
Xbox.
future.
I didn't have to do any of that like for Xbox 360.
You totally did.
No,
Because
I never did.
Those games, like the 360 originally launched with like a
20 gig hard drive.
20 gig hard drive.
Yeah, but the problem is that you
You just pop it right off.
Well, you can
like huge ass.
yeah,
thing.
you consistently upgrade in Xboxes, which everybody did. It's like consistently upgrading in PlayStations, but there's no like upgrade in the PlayStation except for the Pro, of course. But the Xbox incremental upgrades were like affordable.
Yeah.
Getting a PlayStation Pro is another $500 or $400, and like I don't want to drop it.
I think the Slim is as much an upgrade as the Xbox 360.
Sure, because
Slim
you
is.
can get a terabyte.
Yeah, but it's still pretty expensive.
Plus, I have a crux by having that Destiny PS4. Like it's just a gorgeous PS4, and I don't ever want to get rid of it.
Right.
So
I had two things that I wanted to say. Thing number one was that if you are running a 360 version of a game, you can do crossplay on Xbox One.
Oh, that's cool.
The second thing I want to say is you were talking about wanting to play through some games. I have like a summer game playlist of things that I want to go back. Some of them are going back and playing. Other things are going like finishing.
Oh, that's cool. My summer game playlist is Red Dead and Fallout.
Yeah, like
nice.
Yeah.
I want to go through.
Elder Scrolls.
Elder
Elder Scrolls.
Oh yeah,
Online.
that comes out in
Elder
like
Scrolls,
a week, doesn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I want to. God of War's on my list. I'd like to pick up Days Gone and finish that. I still want to do the platinum for Borderlands 2. Although I've been doing a lot of Borderlands, and that's why I picked up God of War. I was like, I need a Borderlands.
I think so. Like I see a lot of people talking about Days Gone on Twitter, and I think it's like super insulting. It's like I don't know why I like this game, but I like it. It's like that's really insulting. Like just say the game's good. Like
because it's that fucking Polygon liberal bullshit.
Sure, yeah.
Where it's like if you like something that the liberal games media side has found offensive, then you
God forbid you say you like it. Sure. It's just I see that a lot. I was like, I don't know why I like Days Gone, but I just like it. It's like you like it because it's fucking good. Just say it.
It's weird though because that game is.
I like it ironically.
Yeah, ironically, I like this game.
It's weird because that game is selling so fucking well.
I know, man.
In Japan.
And it's from what I've seen, it's up Chris Alley, man. That game looks great to me.
That's cool.
Sons of Anarchy and zombies, yes, please.
Sounds manly.
Yeah,
manly. Nintendo will be shutting down their free-to-play mobile games in Belgium and will not offer upcoming titles in the territory due to their laws on loot boxes. The announcement was first made on the Nintendo Belgium Twitter account, but the tweet was accompanied by a longer statement that said, quote, due to the current unclear situation in Belgium regarding certain in-game revenue models, we have decided to end the service for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp and Fire Emblem Heroes in Belgium. It will therefore no longer be possible to play and download the games from Tuesday, the 27th of August, 2019, end quote. So.
I totally forgot Fire Hero Emblems existed.
I feel really bad for the people of Belgium.
I don't.
No more Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
They dug their own grave.
That hurts my soul. Everyone should have access to Pocket Camp.
You don't even play that game anymore.
I had access to it, okay?
I can play it whenever I want because I'm not Belgian.
You know what? I'm downloading it now.
The problem is there's so many really great games out there, and we're also playing Pokemon Go, which, to be fair, is a shitty fucking game.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's so many good games on mobile anymore.
There's a few.
I play like the shit mobile games. Like I'll be playing a game and then an ad comes up for another game and I'm like, nah, fuck it. Download that one too.
Fallout Shelter, Kingdom Hearts, Union Cross. I have KOTOR on here just because it's nice to boot that up every once in a while.
I have Mr. Bullet.
I have Blades. What the fuck is Mr. Bullet?
It's just one of those like you're trying to shoot targets by bouncing a bullet.
Oh,
off
you got
walls.
like shitty games.
Like
you got like
shitty
games.
shitty
Okay.
mobile games.
No, I got like I'm doing like games. I think.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway.
I play Pokemon Go and I play threes. I play threes every single day.
Tetris is a good go-to.
Fucking game.
Is Tetris on mobile?
Mm-hmm.
You can get Tetris on mobile.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's pretty good.
I don't like
That might
Tetris.
ruin my life.
Well, not if you're in Belgium.
Um,
Actually, no. Tetris doesn't have loot boxes, so
It could. You buy a loot box and hopefully you get the force.
Oh my
force
God.
square line, the perfectly straight line.
that is video game capitalist, like dystopian future right there.
Oh man, I should create a gaming company. I'd make millions.
Shudder.
The Epic Mega Sale launched last week, offering $10 off of all titles priced at $14.99 or higher. However, the publishers behind 3 upcoming games, Oxygen not included, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, and Borderlands 3, pulled their games off the Epic Store temporarily. A spokesperson from 2K Games told Eurogamer that, quote, we are working closely with Epic and have temporarily removed Borderlands 3 from their storefront. We look forward to the game being back on the Epic Game Store soon. Games bought during the mega sale will be honored at that price.
I was going to say, I think it was live for like a couple of hours. You can get
Oh.
you could have got Borderlands 3 on PC for like $45 or something like that.
In response to the removal of these games from their service, Epic said, quote, if a developer or publisher chooses to not participate in our sales, we will honor that decision, end quote.
You would have assumed Epic was like, hey, we're going to discount all our games. Are you guys okay with this?
Right.
Like, nope, we're just going to do it.
You know, no memo was sent
Yeah,
out.
there's no sticky note on the fucking window or anything.
You would also assume that they wouldn't be stupid enough to like try to put unreleased games on sale.
On sale, sure. You would
Like
assume.
that's you know, I still stand by the fact that Epic is good for, or the Epic Store is good for the PC community. But that's one place where Steam hasn't beat. They know how to do a fucking sale.
Right.
Sure, but
Yeah, I mean it's
growing pains.
and it's weird too that growing pains definitely. It's weird that the action is to remove the game from the site rather than just you can't just turn off the sale for that game.
Yeah, exactly. Just turn off the sale. I don't know.
That was weird. Because then what if because the point of this sale would obviously, if I'm Epic, I want people to go to the Epic Store. If they're not only buying games on the sale, they would see like, oh, Borderlands 3 is here, might as well buy that.
Sure.
Now you can't even buy it until either they put it back on the store or until the sale's over. I don't know.
I'm really excited for Borderlands 3.
Me too. From John Ryan via IGN, I pretty much copied and pasted this because it's a good explanation. Riot Games has announced that it will not be eliminating the arbitration clause for current employees that moved some 200 and 250 employees to stage a walkout last Monday. Now, nearly 2 weeks after the demonstration, Riot Games announced in a blog post that, quote, given the complexities of the ongoing litigation, we will not change our employee agreement while in active litigation. We know that not everyone agrees with this decision, but we also know everyone does want Riot to continue to improve. We remain committed to having a firm answer around extending an opt-out to all rioters when active litigation concludes, end quote. That's not to say that last Monday's walkout had no effect, however. The post from Riot said that in the wake of continued discussions with employees, it has, quote, invited a diverse group of rioters to participate in reviewing aspects of our code of conduct where they have concerns, end quote, and formed a new employee committee to, quote, create change and identity barriers and opportunities to move us forward in D&I and culture, end quote.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I don't know what D&I means.
I don't know either.
Probably development and improvement.
Sure.
Why not?
Better answer than the two of us.
Better than I don't know.
Dicks and
Innies.
there you go.
Yeah, you know, like
Dicks and innies. Innie is a really good way, like a really good slang term for a vagina.
That was unintentional. I was thinking like innie, like a belly button. I guess people don't really call it innies though. It's just like a belly
No,
button.
they say innie and outies.
No, they don't.
I feel it's
Totally.
either you have a belly button or it's an outie. Like,
Innies and outies.
I don't think I've ever heard of that. But
of
whatever.
an innie.
I don't think a conversation about belly buttons has ever come up in my life. They're just there.
I have. I will not disclose which family member it is because if they ever heard that I was talking about this on a podcast, they might kill me.
Oh god,
But
they don't have a belly button.
I had a family member who had an outie belly button, and so it was.
Why
like
is
a
that
top-
bad?
Oh
It's not
no.
bad. It's just something that people get self-conscious about. Don't know why, because I don't think it's bad at all. I think they got it fixed though, and
It's like a third nipple. Why are you ashamed of this?
I don't know, but it was a topic of conversation in my family because of that.
I
Growing
don't,
up in
I don't understand that conversation in any way, shape, or form.
growing up in racist East Texas, my older great grandpa told me that we have belly buttons because you were shot by Indians. So there's that.
That's a really weird explanation for why people have belly buttons.
You know,
I guess it's
I guess it
like,
fosters a fear of Indians.
If you don't
Is
want
that
your
what you're
kid to,
supposed? Yeah. All right.
if you don't want your kid to know that you came out of a vagina, I guess that's a good way to get around it.
Yeah, but
It was East Texas, so we didn't really talk about that.
But they also want you to be scared of Native Americans.
Yeah, that
Cowboys,
sounds pretty on par with.
Not cowboys though, because they're little white dudes. They're Mexican.
Yeah, no. We're all Texans are cowboys.
Oh,
I'm a cowboy. You're a cowboy. He's a
He,
cowboy.
he, she, we, cowboy.
Whitney's a cowboy.
Anyways, Riot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is the best possible outcome that anyone could have expected.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like,
Yeah.
did anybody expect another outcome?
I mean, I'm sure
people getting fired.
I'm sure everyone was like, "We're gonna change the world," but I think an outside looking in perspective is like, "No, pretty good, pretty much what you get."
A small committee of diverse employees that can, I guess, speak on behalf of everyone else.
Until you union
Oh,
up,
God,
or
that just sounds like Twitter in a business sense. That sounds like a terrible idea. It's just throwing it out there.
what part of that?
All of it. Just sounds like, oh, let's form a committee, and it's basically Twitter.
I mean, I feel like
No.
most businesses have committees.
I think that there are good ways to do committees where they can have positive changes in your company.
Sure, but
Like party committees.
And I think part of doing a good, having a good committee is keeping that committee small.
Sure.
If it's a huge committee, then yeah, it's definitely Twitter and a company.
But the issue is that that entire committee is not objective. Like, let's be honest, let's go extreme, and most SJW social justice warriors are not objective. They're just not. But then there's also people on the other side that are just not objective.
I would say most people have agendas.
I
know?
don't-
I don't
Sure,
think that's a false
I
claim.
think a committee like this just seems like there's agendas involved, and there shouldn't be in a business.
I don't think that a committee. I think every member on the committee should be biased because the whole thing about a committee is compromise. Compromise is two people coming to a table that want diametrically opposed things and then choosing something they both hate, but that is better than what the initial standard was. And so I think
Sure,
that
that
you're-
sounds like a perfect committee, but that doesn't exist.
But I think that you're supposed to be biased to make that happen. I think that if you're there and you're trying to be objective, then that's how committees don't get things done because no one actually wants anything. They just want everyone to be happy, and you don't get that with compromise.
Maybe.
One thing that was good in the Game of Thrones finale is when Tyrion said something along the lines of, "Nobody's very happy, but I guess that means it's a good compromise."
Yes.
Yeah. Quick saves.
Which is why you have one person make decisions. Then nobody's happy.
Except
have
that one person.
But they have to listen. No, they don't. The person's objective. Stop making fun of people who don't identify as a gender. Well, I don't like that. I don't give a fuck. Stop it. Easy.
The kingdom of Chris.
I don't give a fuck. Okay, well. And that's how Chris got killed.
Quick saves. The creator and writer of the John Wick franchise is currently working on a film adaptation of the Just Cause series because we all wanted that.
No, because
Yeah, no,
just
we really,
cause.
yeah, we really don't.
In other video game adaptation news, Sony confirmed during their investor presentation that a Twisted Metal TV series is currently in the works and that an Uncharted movie is currently in advanced stages of development.
How do you do Twisted Metal in movie format?
That was TV.
Oh,
format.
is it TV? I'm sorry.
But either way, what does that even mean?
I don't. Is it just a
death race?
Yeah, it's a death race, but extended in 13 episodes or 26 episodes.
They just re-air
It just
Death Race over and
doesn't
over
make
again.
sense to me.
Like how both of you looked at me as Chris was asking questions like I had answers. I don't know.
I don't understand how you make a freaking Twisted Metal series. I don't get it.
Just Jason Statham.
Yeah, is it Fast and the Furious with like death cars? Like I don't get it. But one dude's crazy and he wears a clown costume.
I was just about to say there's a clown car.
I don't fucking get it.
That's
Uncharted
weird.
makes sense.
That's true. Who would you want to play Nathan Drake? Yeah, I mean, you probably don't care.
Nathan Fillion.
Nah, that's fair. I don't know. I feel like he's not. I don't think he looks like Nathan Drake.
I'm sorry. Have you not seen the Nathan Fillion Uncharted like small little short film?
I mean, I've seen it, but I feel like Nathan
Fillion.
He's getting old.
Nathan Fillion is literally the only answer to this entire thing.
Nah. You seen Chris? Not Chris.
You can all you want.
Have you seen Clint Eastwood's son? He looks like Nathan Drake.
Yeah, but I bet he acts like Clint Eastwood, so it's gonna suck.
You
can't put Clint Eastwood. Yeah, you can't put Clint Eastwood in a fucking Uncharted movie.
Notes. I added something. Yeah. I think you're crazy if you think that Nathan Fillion doesn't look like Nathan Drake.
Nobody said that he doesn't look like it.
That's what he said.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think he doesn't look like it. I think Nathan Fillion looks too old to be Nathan Drake.
Well, then it's just
Nathan Fillion is a very handsome
well, then it's
gentleman.
It's set further into the future. He's a little old. He's rusty.
He's rusty. Yeah, okay.
I think Scott Eastwood, Clint Eastwood's son, looks like Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling. Or like depending on the picture, actually,
literally all those people that you just said look polar opposites of each other, except that they're all white. Except they're all white dudes.
It's really fucking weird because depending on the angle of Scott Eastwood's face, he looks like different people.
No, he looks like his dad.
He's seen multifaceted.
He looks like Clint Eastwood.
He
looks like the man with no.
Like
there's a picture where
handsome.
like it's sorted to the side, and he looks like he could be a Hemsworth brother.
No,
but
he
like
looks
it looks
like
very different.
He looks like the man with no name. I think he looks like young Clint Eastwood.
Nah, he's got like the fucking.
He's the many-faced god.
He's got like the fucking son that lives in boyfriend that lives in like a city and has like a tech job sort of look.
I think Trey is now having a fantasy of dating Scott Eastwood.
Did you see the? Well, the only rumor I saw this week. If you want to do a rumor mill,
sure.
That George R. Martin could be possibly working on a From Software game.
Yeah, there was a report earlier in the year. I think we talked about it on the podcast that said that George R. Martin was consulting on a From Software game.
A Japanese game, not a From Software.
No,
they haven't confirmed From Software. Japanese. Ow!
The rumor earlier in the year was specifically that George R. Martin was consulting on a From Software game. And then on Not a Blog, the night of the season finale, or the day after the season finale, he said that he was consulting on a Japanese game.
George R. Martin said this?
Yes. The initial rumor.
Yeah. So George R. Martin could be working on like the next, maybe not a Souls game because they're done with Souls, but it could be like the next Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and then whatever the
Game of Souls.
No, or like what would Demon, Dark, Danger Souls.
Danger Souls.
It's really interesting to think about like him consulting on that game because I feel like obviously Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, actually probably more than the two of them. They all have narratives, right?
Sure.
But, with the way that From Software usually sort of tells the story in their games, they're telling it through items and they're not just hitting you in the face with their story.
Sure.
And I feel like if you're going to have George R. R. Martin consult on your game, you probably want, you probably want to go in a direction where you have a bigger narrative.
Maybe From Software is doing that.
So I'd be interested.
Didn't Sekiro have a bigger narrative than Bloodborne or any of those did?
I would say it has more, but it's still sort of the From Software having a lot of respect for their players and not hitting them over the head with obvious things.
Sure, yeah, but at least in Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Demon Souls, actually Bloodborne had a fairly front and center narrative, in my opinion. It did. You were doing everything with a purpose, but in Demon Souls and Dark Souls, you were basically it's almost like Fallout 76. You're exploring this world and figuring out the story that happened before you woke up. Does that make sense? So I don't know.
Yeah, and I think you're right with Bloodborne. I think Bloodborne though just tells everything through cutscenes with no dialogue.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I would just be curious to see what that looks like from because they're obviously talented storytellers themselves.
There's dialogue in Bloodborne.
Sure, but like 90% of the cutscenes that are progressing story, it's like
Got it.
just a guy walking, seeing a monster, and then fighting the monster.
What are you looking up?
I was just trying to see if
Are
I
you
could find
bored on
out.
the podcast?
No, I'm trying to find more information on this From Software game.
There's not a lot
There's
of
nothing.
There's no information on the From Software game.
It's codenamed GR. So do with that what you will. And something about horse riding is in the game.
I'd be more inclined to if it was like GM because his name is George Martin.
What comes before the M?
2 R's.
Sequel?
This is one of those
What?
times where I wish we were recording because it's just Justin putting his arms out like he just won a debate.
Right. Also, that just furthers that he's probably never going to finish the books.
For real.
2 weeks from today, you're not going to be here, right?
I don't know.
There's the 6th of June.
Sure, if that's 2 weeks from today, then yes, that
Then
is
you won't be
100%
here.
true.
Okay, the next week we need to probably do our E3 prediction show.
Fuck.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I forgot E3 was happening again.
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 It's still coming.
My predictions are E3's happening because I keep forgetting. Because I keep forgetting about it.
It happens. People will be there,
Yeah,
except for PlayStation.
yeah.
Let me just double check this. Yeah, it starts on June 11th.
Elder Scrolls 6 gameplay.
That's a bold prediction.
Man,
Netflix will be the star of E3.
I feel like this is going to be
That was another thing you didn't have in there. Netflix has like 10 or 15 games in development.
Oh, well, we had them in there last week.
Oh, did we say that? I know Netflix was.
we didn't talk
I think
about 10
Netflix was
games,
like,
but-
they want to get into games, but now I think I read a report, could be different, but like there's like 10 or 15 games actually in development now.
Wow.
So
This will be interesting E3, I think, because I think it's either going to be really boring because no one's going to want to talk about too much stuff until all the next gen consoles have been revealed, and Sony's not revealing theirs.
no way, man.
Soon?
Xbox 2, it's a big deal.
Sure. I just don't. I think that I think that we'll see a lot of stuff in the Xbox presentation, but after that,
I would
it'll
hope
sort of
so.
be slow.
Fallout New Vegas remastered.
Is that what you want?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's on
How awesome would
PlayStation
that
now,
be?
Chris.
No, remastered in Fallout 4 graphics. Like New
Oh, yeah,
Vegas
that's-
remastered in Fallout 4.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Probably
This is what I want.
Fallout 87 will come before they remaster a game.
Fallout
that people want.
5.
Fallout
That'd be
5.
surprising too, honestly.
I mean, we're not going to see that.
Yeah,
Like-
I don't know what we're gonna see.
We'll see.
Something that we don't know.
I mean, we got a whole week to think about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's still that's the thing. There still haven't really been any leaks.
There was one leak.
What was that?
I think it was a George Martin thing. I think it was a From Software thing.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say just George Martin. Took me a second. Like it took me a split second to figure out like who you're talking about.
What? Why?
Oh, everybody. It's the double R.
But you don't say like. I mean, I guess you do. It's like you say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but you say it as fast as possible. It's like, hey, did you see the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie? Or because nobody says TMNT. Or
Well,
you say Ninja Turtle.
No one says like John Tolkien.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Is his name John?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't think was it John.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I just say Tolkien. It's J.R.R. Tolkien, and maybe John. I don't know.
yeah, but if you're,
I know his.
Wait, is it J.R.R.
yeah,
Tolkien?
John Ronald
John, yeah.
Ruel.
Yeah, I know his son's name was Christopher. Just
I didn't know that
Yeah,
he also had the RR going.
yeah. But he's. I don't know what R.R. stands for in George Martin's name.
I got this. Don't worry, guys.
Okay.
Rupert.
Rupert sounds like the perfect middle name.
Rupert
George R. R. Martin.
Rupert Ronald.
Raymond Richard.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
That
a
rolls
cool
off the tongue.
name.
George Raymond
That sounds
Richard
like a
Martin.
superhero name.
know,
Raymond Richard?
Can we just start putting it? Does it almost? Well, it's because it sounds like Reed Richard.
Yeah.
I think we should all just like come up with 2 R names and then stick our names in it. So I'd be like,
Trey
Chris-
R. Higgins.
yeah, Christopher R. Rodriguez.
No, that one doesn't work. Too many R's.
Okay, we'll drop Rodriguez and just do Michael. Christopher R. Michaels. Hey, there you go. That's
There you
nice.
go.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't
My
think
name
Justin
would-
R. Lopez works either.
Yeah. That just sounds weird.
I don't think it. You know what? I'm just gonna put it out there because out of the three of us, I have the whitest last name. I feel like the RR works better with white last names.
Christopher.
Oh, definitely.
Christopher, Rostifer, Richard Fur, Michael.
Justin R. Because if we did Justin R. Thomas, that sounds better.
That sounds way better.
We talked about this last night.
That
I
we
think,
were just
yeah,
gonna
I think
drop
we
the
all
last
just drop
names.
our last names and go with first and middle.
Trey Alexander.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm telling you, dude.
It's not bad.
Everything
It's
sounds
genuinely not a bad idea.
good. Justin Thomas, Trey Alexander, and Christopher Michael. They sound fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, are they actors? Are they porn stars? I don't know.
If it was a porn star, I think my name was like Smokey Garrett.
Bear Black.
According to the
Blackbird?
according to the internet rules.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
so
rules are
the
your
quote
first
unquote.
pet name
Your first pet name and,
and
then
the
your
name of the first street you lived on.
no,
Right,
it was
then-
your mom's maiden name.
I think
heard
it's the
mom's
name of the
maiden
first
name.
street. I've heard the name of
So
your first street.
then so what is it?
Mine's Bear Blackbird.
First pet.
First pet.
Oh, then it's Brandon Spruce.
Yeah, but
It's a really, really good board name.
Brandon
Like that
Spruce,
is
that's pretty good.
That is top tier board
Brandon.
name.
No, actually, so my parents had 2 dogs before I was born. So I guess technically I could choose one, and I would choose a Spruce.
what was it? Sorry.
No,
No,
think
Brandon
Brandon
Spruce. Yeah, you're right.
Spruce.
What was the rule? I missed the.
Name of your first pet.
Okay.
What's the name of your first pet?
I want to do the
No,
full name.
no. You'd say the name of your first pet first. Just do it.
Tutti Frutti.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
The name of then last name is the name of the first street you lived on.
Tutti Frutti Black Forest. Oh God.
Dude, you're like you're a porn star. You as a porn star, you do like the third-rate porn shoots where you get paid like maybe $50 to be there.
Like I'm just happy to be
Yeah,
there.
you're just happy. But
like
it's like in a rundown fucking mannequins behind you and shit because it's in the back of like an old fucking 7-Eleven where you're filming.
When they're shooting a porn where they need like a creepy guy to be like the male star, and that's what they call a Tutti Frutti Black Forest.
Or you're like an extra in the background, but you're basically just there stroking yourself the entire time. It's like, who the fuck is that guy?
They're not 100% sure if I'm allowed to be there.
Tutti Frutti Black Forest. You show up to the shoot in parachute pants because you think it's cool.
I have a perm.
Yeah. Or better yet, cornrows.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh
god.
man,
Well, so there's that.
that's fucking podcast gold.
Tutti Frutti Black Forest.
My life.
I think we'll go with that instead of Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And this
my
week I'm
stage
joined
name.
by Tutti Frutti Black Forest.
I'm afraid that's gonna stick.
I can't get over how good Brandon Spruce is, though.
That is very
Hey,
good.
you're a Tutti Frutti Black Forest. Hey.
Hi guys.
That could be like a makeup YouTuber. You know?
Oh, dude, like I think my experience with like drag queens is
Okay.
like their names or
Yeah.
the pop figures. That's a good drag queen name.
It is good.
I think it's a great.
I like knowing I have options for future careers.
there you go.
Well, we already decided
If-
that like
if
eventually
you're-
you're going into game
If your
so.
current job of watching and judging porn doesn't work out, you can always at least go into the industry.
I have a lot of
Yeah.
good insights.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Man, I feel like that grinded the podcast to a complete fucking halt.
Sure. You judge porn for a living.
I do. You know, there's the whole thing. Speaking of porn star names, the whole like reason why that became a thing was to fish people's like personal information,
Wait,
because those are like common questions for security
interesting.
security
That-
answers.
you're not
Oh,
wrong.
okay. Fair enough.
Well, now my identity's stolen.
Yeah, there was a
Good
there,
riddance.
I don't think I've ever typed in Tutti Frutti on any of them, so I think
there
I'm
was
good.
there was another good one I saw on Twitter today. You guys, better
Yes,
until
I know which one
find
you're
it.
talking about. The Southern insult.
The Southern insult.
Pull it
yeah,
up.
yeah. I'm trying to find it.
Man, I was
I
watching
should have retweeted it so I could
Deadpool
freaking.
2 is on
I'll see if I find it.
HBO. And in the beginning of that movie, he calls someone a pumpkin fucker. And I decided that that's like top tier, like fucking insult.
That's pretty good.
This is really good.
I want to get really good at insults. That seems like a good thing to strive at.
Pretty good at it.
You are?
Yeah. It's like I at Alamo Draft House, my former job, I was pretty well known for being good at like comebacks at people, which is funny because people would like laugh and they're like, "Man, you're so funny," and I'm like, "I'm not actually funny. I would just only be good at like a roast stand up. I would not I would not be good at any other stand up.
Yeah, just
I would
roasting
only
people.
be good at roasting people." And so, like, that doesn't make me funny. That just makes me really judgmental.
Chris, I found it. By the way.
I also found it as well. Okay. You're
So
right.
Vamping.
this is the what's your Southern catchphrase?
Your Southern catchphrase. So if something happens, you say, "Oh, I don't know." So mine would be, so it's like, well, fuck, first letter of middle name, fuck my undies, and spit on a bitch. Well, fuck my undies and spit on a bitch.
And mine would be, well, suck my ass hair
Ew.
and tongue punch a dingleberry.
Yours is the best.
That's too good.
Oh, Tutti Frutti Black Forest. Your Southern thing is great.
Well, suck
letter
my
of your
ass
first
hair
name.
and tongue punch a dingleberry.
All right, so squeeze.
Well, okay, so squeeze
Wait, I don't understand.
the middle letter of your middle name. So,
Oh.
so squeeze my nipple
Yep.
and give me a fiddle.
Oh, I like that.
Give me a fiddle.
Yeah, squeeze my
Well,
nipple.
squeeze
and,
my nipple and give me a fiddle.
yeah.
That sounds like a real Southern catchphrase.
I'll never.
I like that mine has to do with ass hair and dingleberries, though. That's just, it's so good.
My favorite is that this thing that has been going across the internet, on Twitter at least, looks like it was just drawn by some
Yeah.
kid in fucking biology class, just beyond bored off her or his ass.
Right.
Yeah. All right, this is the end of the podcast. We got nothing else going on, man.
This is gold.
Plus, I need to test out some Roll20 stuff now that, or get it all set up. Okay. All right, guys. Well, if you like what we do, check out our description below to find links to our social media for the podcast and for us as individuals. Keep an eye out. We skipped a week of EGSR, but that should be up. Probably, I can sit in for a week if you guys need me to.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be up next week.
Yeah. And other stuff too.
Ooh, both of us should sit in for this week because Vanity Fair just put out a shit ton of set photos for episode 9.
I'm down.
Showing the Knights of Ren. Like
Yeah.
they are there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm excited,
Yeah.
sir.
So if you're listening to this now, tune in on Tuesday
Yeah, Tuesday night.
on Twitch.
4-person EGSR.
Ooh.
That'd be fun.
Will you be awake though?
I mean, I can be if you schedule me. Yeah, it's like
If you
schedule me something, I'll be awake.
I'll
for it.
pencil it in.
Yeah,
The cool thing about like a late podcast like that is that Whitney's in bed she's been in bed for like 4 hours.
I will also probably be in bed just holding the phone. Over my face.
It's just like a dark. Like,
Yeah,
you're like top shirtless.
It's like whenever you're kind of falling asleep and you're watching something, you're just going to see the phone fall. It's just going to hit Chris in the forehead a couple times.
All right,
is this
guys.
up before Saturday? I can't remember.
It goes up on Sunday.
Oh damn.
Well,
I was gonna plug. We're playing at if you're in San Marcos, we're playing at Wake the Dead Saturday night.
Well,
But never mind, forget it.
hope you were there.
Yeah, so, I hope you guys
send
had
it
a
out
good
on
time.
Send it out on the, or have him send it out on the Twitter.
No, it's too much work.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I got you.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.